4,000 years had passed since the fall of Earth. The Galactic Council called it an old chapter, a closed story, in their grand halls of light and stone. They spoke of peace and order. They believed the galaxy was finally safe. The council chambers floated above a blue star. Dozens of alien leaders sat in a perfect circle. Their long lives made time feel small to them. To the council, 4,000 years felt like nothing. One elder species spoke with pride. He reminded the council of the Great Purge, a time when dangerous worlds were erased. Earth was one of them. Humans were called aggressive, emotional, and unstable. They refused to kneel before the council. They refused to give up their weapons. They refused to obey. So the council voted. Earth was marked for removal. The human homeworld burned under alien fire. Oceans boiled. Cities turned to dust. The council called it justice in the present time. A junior analyst entered the chamber. His voice was shaking. He carried news from deep space. Something impossible. A signal had been detected. It came from beyond known galactic borders. The code was old, forbidden, and classified. A code erased from all records. The analyst spoke carefully. The signal matched an extinct language, a language no one had heard in thousands of years. The language was human. Soft laughter spread across the chamber. Several council members waved it away. Humans were gone, erased, forgotten. Everyone knew that. One counselor mocked the idea. He said humans could not survive without guidance. Another said Earth was weak and divided. A species like that could never return. But one ancient member stayed silent. His eyes darkened as he listened. He remembered the screams from old war reports. He remembered how hard humans fought. The signal played again, short, clear, and calm. Not a cry for help, not a threat, just coordinates. In one sentence, we remember. The chamber grew quiet. No alarms were triggered. No fleets were launched. The council chose to ignore it. They believed fear was pointless. They believed history was finished. They believed the past stayed buried. Far beyond council space, in the dark between stars, something ancient was moving. Ships without lights drifted silently, their metal black, their designs unfamiliar. Inside, those ships were humans, not the humans the council remembered. These humans were calm, focused, united. They spoke little, but their eyes burned with purpose. Children learned history as truth, not myth. They learned about Earth before sleep. They learned about fire from the sky. They learned about silence after screams. No statues of hatred were built. No songs of anger were sung. Only one promise was passed down. Never forget. Back in the council chamber, the meeting ended. The leaders returned to comfort and pride. They believed the galaxy still belonged to them. They were wrong. Very wrong. The council never learned what happened after Earth burned. They believed the story ended in fire and ash. But the story continued far away from their sight. When the skies of Earth turned red, not all humans died. A small number escaped. Scientists, soldiers, families. They fled in broken ships and secret stations. These humans did not run toward safety. They ran into the unknown. Old jump gate tests were used, gates that were never meant to work. Many ships were lost. Many lives were gone. But some passed through. They reached a dark and empty part of space, a place the council never mapped. At first, survival was pain. No cities, no comfort, no hope. They lived inside metal shells. Food was counted. Air was shared. Children were born in silence, under weak lights and cold walls. Parents told them stories, not fairy tales, truth. They spoke of blue oceans, green lands, and a sky that once belonged to humans. Years became decades. Decades became centuries. Humans adapted. They learned to live with less. They learned to work together. Old nations faded. Old flags were forgotten. There was no rich or poor, only human. Anger burned at first. Many wanted revenge. Many wanted to strike back fast. But the elders stopped them. They said survival came first. They said strength takes time. They said memory is a weapon. So humans waited. They built slowly, mining dead worlds, using broken alien tech, improving it quietly. Human minds changed. They became sharper, more patient, more united. Artificial minds were created, not as masters, but as partners, thinking with humans, learning with humans. Every child learned history, not just names and dates, but feelings, fear, loss, courage. They saw recordings of Earth, cities before fire, voices before silence. Humans did not teach hate, they taught memory, they taught control. One rule guided them all: never attack in anger, never forget injustice. As centuries passed, human ships changed. No bright lights, no loud engines, only silence and precision. Their fleets were hidden, their weapons unseen, their plans patient. They watched the galaxy from afar. They listened to Council broadcasts. They learned alien politics, alien weakness. The Council spoke of peace. Humans heard lies. When the final generation before return was born, they did not ask if revenge would come. They asked when. One day, a human commander stood before the fleet, his voice calm, his face steady. He spoke simple words. Earth was erased. Humanity was tested. Humanity survived. No cheers followed, no screams of joy, only quiet focus. Deep in space, a single signal was sent. Old human code, simple and clear. It carried memory, not rage. It said only one thing: we remember. And with that message, humanity stopped hiding. Humanity no longer lived in fear. They lived by rules. Rules written in loss and survival. These rules were not laws forced by leaders. They were promises shared by all, passed from one generation to the next. The first rule was clear: humans would never strike first. They would never repeat the mistakes of the past. The second rule was stronger: if humans were attacked, there would be no mercy. This became known as the human doctrine. Simple words, heavy meaning. Human society changed around this belief. Soldiers were not trained to hate, they were trained to protect, to endure, to finish what must be finished. Every human understood the cost of war. They had already lost a world. Technology grew fast, but, quietly, human ships were built for silence. No glowing engines, no bright markings. Weapons were designed to disable first, to control space without destruction. Because humans wanted the galaxy to see their power, not just feel it. Artificial intelligence worked beside humans, not above them, not below them. These AI minds studied alien behavior, Council strategies, old battle records. They found one truth: the Council feared chaos more than death. Human fleets trained in deep space, moving as one body, thousands of ships, acting like a single thought. There were no heroes in human ranks, no single name above others. Only unity, far from human space. An alien scout ship drifted through an empty system. It was old, damaged, looking for resources. The scout detected something strange: space distortion without energy trails, movement without sound. Before it could escape, human ships surrounded it, appearing like shadows. The alien crew panicked. Weapons powered up, but nothing happened. Human technology locked the ship. Engines failed. Weapons went dark. A human boarding team entered. Faces calm, voices steady. They did not shout, they did not threaten. The alien captain expected torture, execution, fear. Instead, he was shown images. Earth before destruction, Earth during fire, children screaming, oceans burning. The humans spoke only once. They said this was history, not a threat. The alien was released, his ship repaired, his memory changed forever. Before leaving, humans gave him a message. Not a warning, not a demand, a truth. Tell the Council we are alive. The scout fled, fear filling his mind. He sent his report the moment he reached safe space. He spoke of silent ships, of humans who did not hate, which frightened him more. The Council received the message. They laughed again. They called it exaggeration, but the report ended with one line, a line the scout added on his own. They are patient, back in human space. The fleet prepared. No celebrations, no speeches, only readiness. Human commanders watched the stars, waiting not for revenge, but for acknowledgement. Because the doctrine was clear, humans would not beg to be seen. They would arrive, calm, united, and the galaxy would have no choice but to remember. The Galactic Council ignored the first warning. They told themselves the scout was mistaken. Fear made weak minds imagine strong enemies, but fear has a way of growing, even in powerful halls. More reports arrived. Trade ships vanished near border systems. Long-range sensors failed without damage. Communication went silent without attack. The Council called emergency meetings. Voices grew louder. Confidence grew thinner. Some younger species demanded action. They asked for fleets, for borders to be closed. Older members hesitated. They remembered the past. They remembered Earth. One ancient counselor spoke at last, his voice slow and heavy. He said the humans were not weak, they were stubborn. He reminded them of old battles, how humans fought even when defeat was certain, how they protected civilians until the end. Many did not listen. Pride filled the chamber. Then the galaxy changed. At the edge of council space, stars bent, space folded, human ships arrived, thousands of them, silent, dark, perfect, no weapons fired, no threats sent. They stopped and waited. Council sensors struggled to read them. Energy signatures were unknown. Designs did not match any record. Panic spread. Some council worlds activated defenses. Others shut down systems. Then a message reached every council channel. Clear, calm, human. We remember Earth. No demands followed. No conditions. Just memory. The council froze. Fleets prepared to strike. Generals asked for permission. It never came. Human ships moved again. Not forward, but around. They surrounded key systems, trade hubs, military bases, communication centers, without firing a shot. They cut supply lines, disabled engines, locked fleets in place. Worlds began to surrender, not through defeat, but through understanding. Smaller species remembered stories, how the Council erased worlds, how Earth vanished overnight. They chose survival. They chose humans. Council unity cracked. Accusations filled the chamber. Blame passed from one leader to another. Human ships remained still, watching, waiting. Another message arrived, this one longer. We do not come for destruction, we come for truth. The words spread across the galaxy. Fear mixed with relief, but relief did not mean safety. All generals knew better. Humans were controlling the battlefield. They always had. A desperate council member ordered an attack, without approval, without thought. A single fleet fired. Energy weapons lit space. The human response was instant, precise, cold. The attacking fleet went dark. Weapons offline, ships drifting, crews alive. The galaxy watched, in silence. Humans had not destroyed them. They had shown restraint. The message was clear. Resistance was useless. Violence was optional. Back in the council chamber, fear replaced pride. They understood too late. Humans were not here to fight a war. They were here to end one. The galaxy waited for destruction. Many believed humans would burn worlds like Earth was burned. They believed revenge would be loud and cruel. But humans chose a different path. Human fleets moved deeper into council space, not as invaders, but as judges. They disabled defense grids. They shut down war fleets. They cut power to command centers. Every action precise, every move controlled. Council leaders watched their power disappear. Systems went dark one by one, yet cities remained untouched, civilians unharmed. Fear grew heavier than fire ever could. Human envoys entered council stations, unarmed, calm, watched by shaking guards. They did not shout. They did not threaten. Instead, they played recordings, images long erased by council law. Earth from orbit, green and blue, alive. Then the fire began. Alien weapons striking cities, oceans boiling, voices screaming. Council members turned away. Some denied it. Some cried. Humans spoke again, their voices steady. This is not shown for pain. This is shown for truth. They revealed more records, votes taken in secret, orders signed, worlds erased before Earth, worlds erased after. The Council was exposed, not as protectors, but as executioners, across the galaxy. Younger species watched the broadcast. They learned who truly ruled them. Human fleets paused, waiting for response. One by one, Council leaders were removed, not killed, arrested, isolated. Humans refused executions. They refused blood. Justice, not slaughter, was their answer. A new message spread, sent to every system. We do not destroy worlds, we remember them. Some humans felt anger. Old pain still lived inside them, but the doctrine held. Revenge without control was weakness, and humans were no longer weak. Former council fleets were disarmed, their weapons locked forever, their symbols removed. Human forces rebuilt communication lines, restored trade routes, stabilized borders. The galaxy began to breathe again. In the council chamber, only silence remained. Empty seats, broken pride. An ancient counselor spoke one last time. He admitted the truth. Earth was destroyed out of fear. Fear of human potential. Humans listened. They already knew. They did not respond with anger. They responded with consequence. The council was dissolved. Its authority ended. Its laws rewritten. Not by force alone, but by agreement. Species long oppressed chose humanity as mediator. Not rulers, but guardians. Human commanders stood before their fleets. They reminded them of Earth, not as a wound, but as a lesson. This moment was not victory, it was responsibility. Across the stars, a new truth spread quietly. Humans had returned, not to burn the galaxy, but to make sure no world ever burned again. The fall of the Galactic Council did not bring chaos. Many feared the galaxy would break apart, but something unexpected happened. Without the Council's shadow, old conflicts slowed, borders softened. Humans did not claim thrones. They did not demand tribute. They refused titles of kings or masters. Instead, they offered structure, a shared system, built on memory and choice. A new council was formed, not of the strongest, but of the willing. Each species had one voice, small or large, young or ancient. Human representatives spoke rarely. When they did, they reminded everyone of one thing. Power must answer to consequence. Earth became more than a lost world. Its ruins were protected. No mining, no settlement. It was declared a sacred memory world, a warning written in stone and dust. Later, humans began rebuilding, not to live, but to remember. Oceans were healed, atmosphere restored, cities rebuilt as monuments, not homes. Children from many species visited Earth. They learned what was lost. They learned why restraint mattered. Human fleets changed purpose. From war to watch, from threat to shield. They patrolled trade routes, stopped pirates, ended slave markets. When conflict rose, humans did not rush in with weapons. They arrived with records, with truth. Violence became rare, not because fear ruled the galaxy, but because memory did, among humans. The story of Earth was still told, but now with pride. They had survived, they had endured, they had chosen control over rage. The galaxy began to call them guardians, not because humans demanded it, but because they earned it. Old species watched humanity closely, waiting for corruption, for weakness. It never came. Human doctrine remained unchanged. Never strike first, never forget injustice. Thousands of years passed, and peace held. One day, a young alien asked a human historian why humans never took revenge fully. The historian answered simply, "Revenge ends stories, memory guides them." The stars continued to burn, life continued to grow. Earth stood silent and blue once more, a reminder visible from orbit. Humanity had returned after 4,000 years, not as victims, not as monsters, but as protectors of a galaxy that once tried to erase them.